يلا.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. الحمد لله تعالى نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبد الله ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء، واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم، ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد، فإن خير الكلام كلام الله، وخير الهدي هدي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل بدعة ضلالة. Indeed, all praise are for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone with our partner. We believe this and we mention this. When we talk about Allah, when we speak about Allah, when we think about Allah, we speak about Him, we talk about Him, we think about Him in the most perfect and the most excellent manner that our limited human minds and hearts can possibly do. Allah Azza wa Jal has the most perfection, the highest perfection, and the absolute perfection, subhanahu wa ta'ala. His names are all beautiful and all perfect. His attributes are all majestic and lofty. His actions are totally far from the slightest defect, from the slightest blemish, and from the slightest resemblance to His created beings. This is what every Muslim must believe, what every Muslim must know, and what every Muslim must put into physical action. That all praises are for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the only reason why they're for Him, and only for Him, is because He's absolutely beautiful and perfect from every single aspect, every angle, and every perspective. Subhanahu jalla wa ala. So we know this, we believe this, and we also physically perform it. As the Prophet ﷺ tells us, that Allah Azza wa Jal has 100 names. 100 names. One less than 100. 99 names Allah Azza wa Jal He has. Man ahsaha dakhala al-jannah. He who memorizes these names will enter paradise. The Prophet he says, Inna lillahi, he says Allah has 99 names. Mi'atan ila wahid. Allah has 99 names. He who memorizes them will surely enter the Jannah. The people of knowledge, they say this hadith doesn't just mean to memorize them. For surely the kafir can memorize Allah's 99 names. The munafiq can memorize Allah's 99 names. But only the believer is he who will know these names, literally memorize them, and most importantly, worship Allah in accordance to those 99 names. Allah is Al-Sami' Al-Basir, Al-Alim, Al-Aziz, Al-Hakim. Allah is Al-Ghafur Al-Wadud. So I worship Allah according to those names. Allah sees everything, so I avoid sin. Allah hears everything, so I don't use my tongue in an impermissible manner. Allah is most merciful, so I never ever think about committing suicide. Allah is the one who's most affectionate to His slaves. So how can I ever be depressed and down and out and think about taking pills and slitting my wrists? He acts upon what He knows. That is what's meant by man ahsaha. He memorizes them mentally, physically, and spiritually. And most importantly, he acts upon them. And he worships Allah. He invokes Allah. He calls upon Allah according to those names and those attributes. So in alhamdulillah, all praises are for Allah Azza wa Jalla. We know this. We believe this. And most importantly, we physically implement this. To Allah is all praise, the mighty and the sublime. We ask Him for help and support. We ask Him for aid and assistance. We ask Him for protection. We ask Him to grant us refuge from the evils, from the negativities, and from the bad and dark elements contained in our minds, in our hearts, and in our souls. And if this is achieved, if someone is protected from shaitan, and protected from his own ignorance, and protected from the own negative elements inside himself, it is only because Allah Azza wa Jalla guided him. And if someone is not protected, and they fall victim to their natural ignorance. They fall victim to their natural greed. They fall victim to their natural cowardice. They fall victim to their natural haste and stupidity. They fall victim to their impulsiveness. Then it is only because Allah did not guide them. They were not guided by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah alone without partner is the only true God. Allah alone without any second, third or fourth, without any rival, without anything that can come close to Allah's perfection and His beauty, is the only one who should be called upon, who should be hoped for, who should be feared. For sacrificial slaughter should be offered, the mighty and the majestic. Alone without any partner, not even the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When you swear, you only swear in Allah's name. You say Wallah. You never say Wal Nabi, Wal Sharaf, Wal Aba. I swear by my forefather. I swear by my grandmother. I swear by the ancient. No. You only swear by Allah Azza wa Jalla. Wahdahu la sharika lahu. Alone without any partner. And we also believe and testify as Muslims that Muhammad, the son of Abdullah, is his prophet, is his messenger, is his apostle, and he's also the best of Allah's chosen slaves. So we only have one deity whom we worship, whom we love, whom we fear. And we only have one messenger whom we follow, whom we respect, whose example we take in our daily lives as worshipers, in our daily lives as servants, and in our daily lives as slaves. There's only one way to paradise, and it's only Muhammad's way. There's only one way to Jannah. It's only the way of the son of Abdullah. There's only one way to Allah's good pleasure, and that is only through the apostle of God Almighty. No one else, no second, no third, no imam, no group, no movement, only Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's the only way to Jannah. So Allah is our only deity of worship, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is our only example and leader in our physical worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To proceed, Allah the Mighty and the Sublime has commanded us all to fear Him, and to be mindful, and to be wary, and to be watchful, and to have the recognition and the acknowledgement that Allah sees and hears all things, and Allah is aware of all things. Allah made us, He created us, He gave us life. So it only makes sense for us to fear Him. It only makes sense for us to be mindful of the one who was living before we were anything to be mentioned. It only makes sense for us to be mindful and wary of the one who will continue to live when we die and when we perish. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the Prophet ﷺ, he also tells us that the best speech is the speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the best guidance is the guidance of Muhammad, the son of Abdullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And the opposite is the exact opposite. The worst things, the most ugly things, the most incorrect way is to go against Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam's way. After Allah told you that it's perfect. After Allah told you that He completed the deen for me and for you and for us all. To proceed. The second chapter in the Mus'haf al-Sharif, the compilation of the Quran al-Kareem into one book, between two covers, written down and recorded. In the Mus'haf, the second chapter is Surah al-Baqarah, the chapter of the cow, the chapter of the heifer. It is the longest surah in the Quran al-Kareem. Nearly 300 verses. Obviously, a surah of such magnitude, so large, so extensive, so lengthy, is going to talk about many things. It's going to have a rich diversity of topical content. It's not just going to have one theme, one story, one prophet, one battle, but it's going to talk about many things. And in most cases, it's going to speak about everything that you need and everything that you want and everything that pertains to this life and hereafter from the beginning to the end. Whereas 300 ayats, nearly 300 ayats. And one of those ayat is a page long. So obviously it's going to talk about a splenditude of things, a load of things, a great amount of many things. And from the things that Surah Al-Baqarah, the chapter of the cow, and the reason why it was called Surah Al-Baqarah, the heifer of the cow, is because there was a cow. And this cow was supposed to be sacrificed. It was supposed to be slaughtered in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it was a specific messenger who had a specific message that was sent to a specific people. And He gave those people instruction that Allah commands you, and tadbahu baqaratan. Allah commands you to slaughter this cow for a reason and for wisdom. These people, for one reason or another, they refused to slaughter the cow. They disobeyed and they rejected it. And there were many things that took place and happened to them as a result of their disobedience, as a result of them being obstinate, as a result of them being stubborn, And as a result of them using their minds when they were supposed to use their hearts, as a result of them using their eyes supposedly when they were supposed to use their souls, as a result of them thinking that they knew better and they had more wisdom, as a result of their sarcasm and their disrespect to their prophet, to their messenger, and to the one who sent this prophet and this messenger. So Allah Azza wa Jalla, He talks about the cow, and He speaks about a people. He talks about a nation. One may say a race. One may say a religion. What's for sure is that they are a people. And these people are known as Al-Yahud, the Jews. And in the second chapter of the Quran, and other parts as well, Allah gives us a vivid description of these people. And He talks about them, and He describes them. He gives them characteristics, and He gives them qualities. From the characteristics is that they were chosen. There was a point in time in which they were chosen. That I gave you preference over all of mankind, over all of the created beings. From the characteristics of Allah Azza wa Jalla mentions is that they had knowledge. They had ilm. They had scriptures. They had talent. They had skill. They had things that other nations did not have. And these are some of the positive characteristics. Some of the good qualities and traits of the Yahud in the Quran al-Kareem. In Surah Al-Baqarah and other Surah Al-Baqarah. But on the other side, there are many characteristics that Allah speaks and mentions and He talks about. From them is utmost and outward cowardice. Is that they were afraid, they were scared, and they were cowards. From the attributes that Allah gives them and attaches to them is that they were liars, and they were cheaters, and they stole, and they robbed, and they swindled, and they changed the scripture, and they played with words, and they disrespected the intellect of other men. They looked down upon other people that were Gentiles, that were not Yahud, and they played around with those other men. They robbed them, they stole from them, they cheated them, and they intellectually disrespected them. They thought that they were smarter and everyone else was stupid and dumb. And they were the only ones that could deserve the true message of God Almighty. And from the descriptions and the attributes of these people that are bad and totally negative, and it was a major means of them being cursed and sent far from Allah, and Allah censured them and blamed them, and He rejected them, is what Allah says in the 102nd ayah and the 103rd ayah. Allah Azza wa Jalla, He says, after we seek refuge in Allah from the accursed devil, وَاتَّبِعُوا مَا تَتْلُو الشَّيَاطِينُ عَلَى مُلْكِ سُلَيْمَانَ. Allah says, and these people that were once chosen, that were once guided, that were once gifted, these people that I chose to send, one of the best of my prophets, one of the best of my messengers, one of the greatest of my books, from the things that they did in ungratefulness and disrespect to me and to my prophet, is that they followed مَا تَتْلُو الشَّيَاطِينُ عَلَى مُلْكِ سُلَيْمَانَ. During the time of Sulaiman, the prophet Solomon, there were all types of things that took place and happened. And from the things that took place and happened is that Solomon was in the possession of shayateen. He had demons at his service. They built things for him. They constructed things for him. They traveled long distances in return for his sake. They would dive into the ocean and retrieve things for his sake. He had these shayateen a part of his army, a part of his foot soldiers. But all of these shayateen didn't do what they were supposed to do. And some of them played around. Some of them disrespected Allah and disrespected themselves. And some of them began to delve and to dip into the dark world of sihr, of sorcery, of magic, of evil. And they realized that they had certain talents and abilities that the human beings didn't have. They had certain strength, certain speed, certain knowledge, certain versatility that the humans didn't have. And these shayateen, they realized that the human beings were greedy. And that the men, they coveted these talents and these skills. They wanted to travel to a place. They wanted to see things and hear things and live very, very, very long. They wanted to cause harm to their enemies. And they wanted to curry the favor of those whom they loved and had passion for. So some of these shayateen, they began doing these things. And the human beings, they followed them therein. So Allah says about the Jews, وَاتَّبَعُوا, they followed, they believed, they accepted مَا تَتْلُو الشَّيَاطِينُ عَلَى مُلْكِ سُلَيْمَانَ, what the demons recited, and what the devils instructed and told men about during the time of Solomon, King Solomon. to the Muslims, to the Jews, to the Christians, to the atheists, to the occult followers. Solomon is a wise man, a great king. He had a huge, tremendous virtue and stature among all of these people. And some of them, they believed and they thought about this man Solomon as that he was a grand sorcerer, a grand magician. He had the power and the ability to do supernatural things with the help of these spirits or these bodies or these shayateen. Now the fork in the road between the Muslims, the Jews, and the Christians, the Muslims and the occult, the Muslims and the sorcerers and the magicians, is that we do not believe that Solomon practiced sorcery. We do not believe that he practiced magic. Do we believe that it existed during his time? Yes. Or there are things that he took and he hid and he stole to keep the people from doing? Yes. But he did not perform those hideous acts. Allah says, وَمَا كَفَرَ سُلَيْمَانُ وَلَكِنَّ الشَّيَاطِينَ كَفَرُوا. Solomon didn't disbelieve. Solomon didn't reject faith. But it was the shayateen, it was the jinn, it was the demons, it was those evil created beings of Allah that disbelieved. What does Allah Azza wa Jal say? Why did they disbelieve? What did they do? Allah Azza wa Jal, He says, وَمَا كَفَرَ سُلَيْمَانُ وَلَكِنَّ الشَّيَاطِينَ كَفَرُوا يُعَلِّمُونَ النَّاسَ السِّحْرَ. They taught people magic. They taught them sorcery. They taught the people these dark arts. Where did they get it from? Allah Azza wa Jal, He says, يُعَلِّمُونَ النَّاسَ السِّحْرَ وَمَا أُنزِلَ عَلَى الْمَلَكَيْنِ بِبَابِلَ هَارُوتَ وَمَارُوتَ. There were two malakain. وفي قراءة ملكين. There were two angels or two kings. At the time, the place, the location of Babylon. And they had sihr. And they taught people sihr, sorcery, and magic. Some of the ulama, they say they were angels. And some of them say they were human beings. They were two kings. And these people, what did they do? And what did they say? وَمَا يُعَلِّمَانِ مِنْ أَحَدٍ حَتَّى يَقُولَا إِنَّمَا نَحْنُ فِتْنَةٌ فَلَا تَكْفُرْ. They would never take on a pupil, they would never teach someone sorcery to make this person become sick, to make this person become ill, to make this man love this woman, to make this woman love this man, to split up this husband from this wife, to kill this one, to travel to a place, to do something that's out of the ordinary ability and power of a human being. They never taught anyone these abilities until they warned them. And they gave them clear advice. And they would tell them, إِنَّمَا نَحْنُ فِتْنَةٌ فَلَا تَكْفُرْ. They said, we're only a test from Allah. It's only a trial. So do not leave Islam. They would tell these people, if you want to make kufr, tafadhal, come, we'll teach you. If you want to keep your faith, if you want to be a believer, a Muslim, do not learn from us. So what do the human beings do? Do you think the human beings, do you think the Jews, the Yahud, you think they rejected this offer? I have the ability to ruin another man's life. I have the ability to be with this woman that I lust after, but she doesn't want to be with me. I have the ability to have wealth, to have power, to have status. I have the ability to ruin a perfect marital situation for someone that I envy and I hate. I have the ability to separate a son from his father, a father from his son, for my own personal desires. What do you think these people did? Do you think they rejected the deal, or do you think they took the deal? But the deal was, if you learn sihr, you sell your soul. If you learn sorcery and magic, you're no longer a believer, and you're destined to the fire of hell. What do you think these wise human beings did? They weren't wise. They weren't smart. They didn't believe. They wanted to harm men. They wanted to benefit men. They only thought about themselves. Allah Azza wa Jalla, He tells us, فَيَتَعَلَّمُونَ مَا يَفَرِّقُونَ. Allah says, فَيَتَعَلَّمُونَ مِنْهُمَا. Allah says, they learn from these people, from these two angels, or these two kings, these two human beings, مَا يَفَرِّقُونَ بِهِ بَيْنَ الْمَرْءِ وَزَوْجِهِ. That which they had the ability to cause divorce, to cause major marital chaos, to split up a man and his wife. وَمَا هُمْ بِضَارِّينَ بِهِ مِنْ أَحَدٍ إِلَّا بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. Allah says, and they can only harm people, they can only ruin people, they can only annoy people, they can only kill and separate by the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This only takes place if Allah wills, if Allah decrees, and if Allah allows it. Pay close attention to this ayah. Nothing can harm you of sihr unless Allah allows it. So if you know that, don't fear sihr. Don't be afraid of a magician. Put your trust in Allah. Fear Him. Be mindful of Him. Because the sin only happened to you through his permission. And it can only be taken away from you. You can only be cured therefrom with his permission. So this ayah teaches us is that if there's a Muslim who is afflicted with sorcery, with black magic, with voodoo, if a Muslim is afflicted with these things, the only cure is the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because the words of Allah is what told you about sin. The only cure is Allah. Because the only reason and the only way that it happened to you was through the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not through another magician, not through another sorcerer. Allah Azza wa Jalla even says about these people, they can't harm anyone unless it's the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then they learn things. They learn even more things. وَيَتَعَلَّمُونَ They learn from these people مَا يَضُرُّهُمْ وَلَا يَنْفَعُهُم That which is harmful and that which is not beneficial. That which is harmful and that which is not beneficial. Allah Azza wa Jalla tells us, وَلَقَدْ عَلِمُوا لَمَنِ اشْتَرَاهُ مَا لَهُمْ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنْ خَلَاقٍ وَلَبِئْسَ مَا شَرَوْا بِهِ أَنفُسَهُمْ لَوْ كَانُوا يَعْلَمُونَ وَلَوْ أَنَّهُمْ آمَنُوا وَاتَّقَوْا لَمَثُوبَةٌ مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ خَيْرٌ لَوْ كَانُوا يَعْلَمُونَ Allah says, and indeed these people, they knew well about the deal that they made, and that it was a contract, basically selling themselves. Sell your soul. And it's a wretched deal, Allah says, if they only but knew, and if they had believed, and if they had taqwa, if they were mindful of Him subhanahu wa ta'ala, it would have been better for them if they only but knew. أقول ما سمعتم وأستغفر الله تعالى لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه كان غفارا. الحمد لله وكفى والصلاة الله وسلامه على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد. This ayah, among many others in the Quran, clearly explains to us that sihr is a reality. It's not a joke. It's not a game. It's not a myth. It's not hocus pocus. It is real. It is a reality by Allah's permission. And this thing called sihr or sorcery, by Allah's permission, has the ability to kill someone. It has the ability to cause harm to someone, physical harm, mental harm, spiritual harm. By Allah's permission, it has the ability to cause two loved ones to separate. And by Allah's permission, it has the ability for two strangers, two people who do not like each other, to come together. Or at least one of the two to ardently follow the latter. And it is a reality by Allah's permission. And there are many ayats in the Quran regarding sihr. And there are many hadith of the Prophet regarding this reality. What we want to talk about right now is, what do you do if sihr is on you? If you feel like someone put a spell on you, or you put a spell on my wife, or a spell on my son, a spell on my father, I feel like that I have sihr. It's something that we hear often. It's something that is a very widespread problem in the United States, in America, in New York City, and in this community specifically as well. Rather, all over the world, wherever you go. But we're talking about our own community first and foremost before anyone else. It is reality. So is it true that I have sihr? Or am I just imagining things? Am I hallucinating? Am I exaggerating? Am I blowing something out of proportion? We have to realize, what are the signs of sihr? How do I know accurately that I may have sihr on me, or my wife, or my son, or my father, or my uncle? First and foremost, the people of knowledge, they say, from the signs that one is upon he has an actual spell on him or her, is that they have no desire, no taste whatsoever for the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the heaviest thing, the most burdensome thing, the most difficult thing is ibadah. It's hard to make 5 daily prayers. It's hard to say Bismillah. It's hard to hear the adhan. It's hard to read the Quran. The dhikr of Allah and the ibadah of Allah Azza wa Jal is something that is like an anvil on their heads. It hurts them, and it's hard to do that which they were naturally created for. The second main sign of sihr, and that it is a reality, is constant, continuous nightmares. Constant, scary, evil, wicked dreams in which someone is trying to kill you, in which an animal is attacking you, in which you may be doing some great harm to one of your loved ones. And you want to get out of that dream, and you know that you hate it, and you wake up sweating, shaking, grabbing someone, shaking someone, and you say, was that a dream or was that real? Did I actually kill my son in my dream? Did I stab my wife in my dream? Was that a dream or was that a reality? Not a nightmare every now and then, you eat something late at night, or you watch something scary, but constant and continuous evil dreams that cause a great deal of anxiety and terror. Number 3, The ulama of Islam, they say constant and continuous migraines. Not a migraine from day to day, but you have a migraine for days of excruciating pain. And it never ever goes away, and you're never exempt from this pain of a migraine. They say it's a sign of sihr. It's also a sign of the jinn. And that's another khutbah in itself, the jinn possession. Number 4, the fourth sign that a person has sihr is that a man does not have the ability to be intimate with his wife. His wife that he loves, his wife that he's attracted to, he wants to go to her, but he can't go to her for one reason or another. Not because they had an argument, not because he's tired, but he doesn't have the ability to have intercourse with her. And the exact opposite. The woman does not have the ability to have intercourse with her husband. The scholars of Sunday say it's a major sign that it is sihr. And the reason behind this is obvious. And that's because sihr comes from the shayateen. And the shayateen by nature are jealous creatures. They're envious creatures. And they hate to see people living happily. So therefore, from the tools and the things that they have, and a human being's covet is to cause misery to others. So it's a basic, simple, easy, one-way deal. The shaitan, the demon, he comes to the human being, or the human being goes to the shaitan, and he says, I don't like Fulan. I hate him. I'm jealous. He married the woman that I was supposed to marry. His wife is more beautiful than me. Fulan's husband is better than my husband. I don't want them to be happy and have children and live prosperous. So what can I do to break up their marriage? What can I do to cause them misery and suffering and agony? The shaitan says, I can do whatever you want me to do. You want to kill him? We can kill him. You want him to jump off a cliff? He'll jump off a cliff if we want him to do that. You want them to hate each other? We can arrange that. That's not a problem. But what are you willing to offer me? The human being says, I have nothing. You want money? The jinn says, we don't want your mortal currency. What can we do with money? I want you to worship me. I want you to disrespect Allah. I want you to write the words of Allah in filth. I want you to pray for 40 days in Jumu'ah and your junub. I want you to curse Allah and His messengers. I want you to mock the religion. Prostrate to me. Slaughter for me. Worship me. Take me as your deity. And I promise you that everything that you can ever imagine with regards to this couple and many, many other people. So the moment the human being sells his or her soul and signs that deal with the devil, they've officially been granted power by the Sahib to do something that's beyond the natural realm of the human being. And that is why someone doesn't know what is wrong with me. I can't pay attention, as the people nowadays say as well. A very short attention span. You're extremely angry. You're aggravated all of the time. You can't sit down. You can't have a conversation. You jump up and you cannot remember what happened, what just happened 5 minutes ago. So the shaitan plays games. And he appears in places and times in which the normal human being cannot, by Allah Azza wa Jalla's permission. If you have these signs, some of them or all of them, it may not be a bad idea for you to check yourself out. But not in a doctor, not in a psychiatric ward, but you need a doctor of the heart. You need someone who knows the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You need someone who knows the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and by Allah's permission, as Musa alayhi salam told us, as Allah told us about Musa alayhi salam, Inna Allah sayubtilu. Allah will falsify this sihr. It's fake. It's not real. And Allah Azza wa Jalla will never guide the deeds of the sorcerers. Allah tells us in another ayah, وَلَا يُفْلِحُ السَّاحِرُ حَيْثُ أَتَى. No matter what the sorcerer does, he'll never be successful. So know for sure the cure is from Allah. Is with Allah. But how bad do you want that cure? How much of the cure do you know? How to properly administer the cure? How many of us we complain about sihr and then we read weak supplications? We complain about sihr and we go to another sahib. We complain about sorcery and evil and these things afflicting us and attacking us, but we stay far from the khair and the people of khair. We stay far from the light and the source of that light. So the point is, to speak about every detail of sihr, its rulings, its ins, and its outs cannot be done in a 30-minute sermon. Cannot be done in a 30-minute khutbah. What's important is to check yourself. If you have these symptoms, if someone in your family has some symptoms, then it's a possibility they may have been afflicted by this evil practice. We ask Allah Azza wa Jalla by His beautiful names and perfect attributes to cure all of the Muslims who have physical, spiritual, and mental illnesses. Ameen. We ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to remove the sin from all of the Muslims and all of the believers. We ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to strengthen the hearts and the minds and the souls of the believers to stand up and fight the shayateen. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala al-mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin wa aqimus salah.